Hi, it's Jason Gorber for thatshelf.com, and we're here to talk about Joker. There's already a review up on our channel from Tomo from the Venice Film Festival. I just got to see it here at Toronto, and man, this is a complicated movie. It's a complicated movie to talk about, but it's a rich movie. It's a film of many ideas, and I think that there's going to be sort of dangers of rhetoric here. There's going to be a whole bunch of people who are like, I don't want to see this. I want to have nothing to do with it. And really, this film's kind of for those people to sort of get out of their bubble and actually see how some of these things take place, contextualize them, if not, certainly empathize without sympathizing with some of the sort of drama going around that. People are like, I don't need to know this, I don't need this kind of awful in terms of my entertainment. And I guess that's a justifiable argument, but really when we talk about those films in the 70s that truly were provocative, that really actually made us think and feel in certain ways, not always positively, this is one of those films. Look, Todd Phillips is borrowing heavily from Martin Scorsese in a good way. Taxi Driver is an obvious allusion, but it wasn't until the last trailer came out that I realized how much king of comedy is in there. That's a film that's sort of underloved. Yes, De Niro's in it. He's sort of underused in Joker, actually. He plays essentially Johnny Carson type figure. But the way that it all plays together, the notion of the people who have been born to think that they deserve to be famous. And then when things don't work out for them, that it's everyone else's fault. It's society's fault. It's the life around them instead of something that they've done. They don't recognize not only the sort of coincidences that result in success or the unfair nepotism that results in success. And this film definitely plays along that. This is set in 1981, which is actually quite critical. It's not a 70s ennui film. This is 1980s, just before Wall Street. That kind of sort of divide between us and them, rich and poor, all of that playing out within ostensibly a comic book movie. Now, what I actually really thought was strong about the film is that it maintains this sort of precision. There is, the performance is obviously very extraordinary, very engaging in the lunacy, where you are dancing between, again, empathizing with this guy who himself has all these troubles, but fundamentally recognizing that what he's doing is totally and completely amoral and wrong, even if there are motivations on his perspective in his own mind about why these things should actually take place. There's no sort of moral gray area of what he's doing, but there's certainly psychological motivation. It's not just that he's a force of nature. I love Dark Knight. I think it's amazing, and what's scariest about that is the non-human Joker, the person who can sort of show up in meetings and bang people in the head with pencils going into their eye, and you don't know how he did it. It doesn't matter. He's just a force. He's a thing of energy. As Heath Ledger's character talks about, he's that dog that when he actually captures the bump of the car doesn't know what to do with it because he's just chaos. This is a very human Joker, and because that is very, very unsettling. I think there will be plenty of people that go there that want to do so for ostensibly awful political reasons, to somehow justify their own hatreds and their own insecurities and somehow feel that they're standing up to this buttress that's out to get them. I think that's as ignorant as somebody who comes across and thinks that there's nothing here in this film, nothing to actually see, that we can look into the darkness of a human soul, empathize with the human aspect of it, and still be very comfortable about judging what's right and wrong here. There's all kinds of very interesting things. Fundamentally, Joker is an origin story, but really it's an origin story of the birth of a psychopath turning into a sociopath. It's what happens when somebody who's own crazy transforms into something where they want to destroy the society that has made them feel the way they do. And because of that, it's quite shocking. It is quite has moments that are very, very dark and very austere, but again, it never gets into something bigger than it is, and that's actually really the film's greatest strength. It's essentially a hybrid between art house and blockbusters. One reason it won Venice, it captured even those very, very art house savvy people. But on the other hand, it does play as a sort of mass entertainment, one that is challenging of expectations. Look, if we can watch the RoboCops of this world, if we can watch these films and sort of get a sense of what's going on, even if people don't get it, I'm not worried about those people. People who are engaged in the film, who actually respond to the film, will recognize that it has things to say, and even if we're uncomfortable with some of those things say, or even question, I guess, why they should be said at this point in time, I put all of that aside. I think it's another secondary argument. The film exists, and the film needs to be, for me, needs to be seen and be confronted with the way that I would for any film of this nature or another nature, whether one I agree with or I don't. Joaquin is pretty extraordinary in the way, again, that he humanizes his character, that he brings us in to his world. The secondary characters are pretty decent. The costume design actually really found quite extraordinary, which is not something I normally notice. With his subtlety, with the very light shade of green in his hair, and the way the suits, the sort of the comfort in which he works. It's the same costume designer as Phantom Thread. Again, we have like incredible stalwart filmmakers doing this. And Todd Phillips, look, the Hangover films are actually much darker than you realize, especially by the time you get to the last one. There's some pretty heavy stuff that is saying about friendship, about Vegas, which didn't always work in the comedic structure. Here they actually work. And the cinematography is fantastic, the music is great. There's so many technical elements that really work, which again, there's no Nolan-like moment where the big ships come in and things get larger than life. This truly is a contained, relatively small budget, single story. This is like that one-off issue or the one-off novel that actually gets to the point of what it's doing. There's no sense here that we're going to be getting a sort of universe of all these things, even though it obviously occupies within the greater DC shtick. So I think Joker is a film to be contended with. I think it's an incredibly strong film. I think people will overpraise and underpraise it with equal measure, but I think that it's not even somewhere in the middle. I think that with a little bit of sensitivity to what's being taken place and an openness to the story that it's telling and a recognition that sometimes films can actually make you feel kind of terrible, and that's part of what they're doing, but they make you think. I think this is one of those films. For thatshelf.com, I'm Jason Gorber. Plenty more to come here. Please subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media at That Shelf, and we'll see you next movie. All the best.